After spending recent weeks trying to distance himself from the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa is now being pushed right back toward Roman Reigns. And the man responsible for making it happen? Jey Uso. On the August 10th episode of Raw, Jey Uso defeated Solo Sikoa in a match that carried massive consequences for Solo's future. The stipulation was simple. If Jey won, Solo would have to return to the Bloodline. And Jey did exactly that. But this isn't just another loss for Solo. This could be the moment WWE completely changes the direction of his character. Because Solo Sikoa had been showing signs of becoming something very different from the dangerous enforcer fans knew during the height of the Bloodline. He was becoming more independent, more unpredictable, and most importantly, fans were beginning to look at Solo differently. Now WWE has thrown him straight back into the Bloodline story. And that raises one huge question. Is Solo Sikoa's babyface run already over? Let's break down exactly what happened. Solo Sikoa wanted out. Coming into Raw, Solo Sikoa made it clear that he did not want to go back to the Bloodline. That is important, because this wasn't a situation where Solo was happily choosing to return to Roman Reigns. Quite the opposite. Solo had been trying to establish himself outside of the family power struggle. He didn't want to simply become another soldier underneath Roman, and that made his confrontation with Jey Uso extremely personal. Jey, however, saw the situation completely differently. Jey made it clear that Solo had a debt to his family. He even argued that he had helped raise Solo and that Solo owed his position to the Bloodline. That created an interesting conflict. For Solo, leaving the Bloodline represented independence. For Jey, Solo walking away represented betrayal. And WWE turned that disagreement into a match with Solo's future hanging in the balance. Jey promised that if he won, he would deliver Solo to Roman Reigns. And Solo accepted. That decision may have just come back to haunt him. Jey Uso defeats Solo. The match itself became the biggest test of Solo's independence. Solo wasn't simply fighting Jey Uso. He was fighting for the right to control his own future. But when it mattered most, Jey came out on top. And things became even more complicated because Jimmy Uso got involved. With Jimmy's assistance, Jey defeated Solo Sikoa. WWE officially framed the result as Jey sealing Solo's fate and making good on his promise to deliver him to Roman Reigns. So now the stipulation has been activated. Solo lost, and according to the storyline, he has to go back to the Bloodline, back toward Roman Reigns, and potentially back into the very environment he was trying to escape. But here's where things get interesting. What happens when Solo meets Roman? This is the part WWE fans should be watching very closely, because Roman Reigns isn't just another member of Solo's family. Roman is the person Solo previously challenged for control of the Bloodline. Solo once tried to establish himself as the new power in the family. He tried to replace Roman. He tried to build his own version of the Bloodline. And now, after all of that, Solo could be walking right back into Roman's territory. That creates an enormous amount of tension. How does Roman treat him? Does Roman forgive Solo? Does Roman punish him? Does Roman humiliate him? Or does Roman actually see value in having Solo back? There's also another possibility. Roman could use Solo's return as a way to re-establish control over the entire Bloodline. And if that happens, Solo could find himself in a very uncomfortable position, because he would technically be back with his family, but he may no longer be the one in charge. And that's a fascinating development for Solo's character. Is Solo's babyface run over? This is where things get really interesting. Over the past period, Solo Sikoa has been moving in a direction that feels noticeably different from the character we saw during the peak of the Bloodline. He has shown more personality. He has interacted differently with other wrestlers. And there have been signs that WWE may have been experimenting with a more sympathetic or fan-friendly version of Solo. Fans who previously saw Solo primarily as Roman Reigns' enforcer started seeing another side of him. That's why this latest development is so significant. Because if WWE really wanted to continue Solo's babyface evolution, forcing him back into the Bloodline creates a major obstacle. Of course, this doesn't automatically mean his babyface run is finished. WWE could be setting up something much bigger. And this is where we need to separate what WWE has confirmed from what we're predicting. WWE has confirmed the stipulation and the result. Jey won. Solo's fate is tied to returning to the Bloodline. Jey has vowed to deliver him to Roman. Those are the facts. But whether Solo actually becomes a full-time villain again, that's still speculation. And honestly, WWE could be preparing something much more interesting. Solo could become the ultimate wild card. Imagine Solo walking back into Roman Reigns' bloodline. Roman expects obedience, but Solo doesn't give it to him. Instead, Solo tells Roman that he isn't the same person anymore. That would immediately create tension, because Roman would have to decide whether Solo is still family or whether Solo is still a threat. And that could eventually lead to another confrontation between the two. The most interesting version of this story may actually be Solo returning to the Bloodline temporarily, only to realize that he doesn't belong there anymore. That could make Solo's eventual rebellion even more powerful. Instead of simply turning babyface overnight, WWE could show fans exactly why Solo doesn't fit into Roman's world anymore. And that could create a much stronger character arc. But there's another problem. Jey and Solo. Don't forget about Jey Uso. Jey is now directly responsible for sending Solo back toward Roman. That means Solo has every reason to blame Jey. And the history between these two is enormous. Solo was once one of the biggest threats to Jey's family. Jey has also spent years dealing with the consequences of the Bloodline. So even though Jey believes he's doing the right thing, Solo may see the situation completely differently. What happens if Solo eventually decides that Jey has crossed the line? What happens if Solo returns to the Bloodline but refuses to forgive the Usos? And what happens if Jimmy and Jey suddenly find themselves dealing with a Solo who is more dangerous than ever? This could create a completely different Bloodline civil war. Roman Reigns could be the biggest piece. Then there's Roman, the biggest name in this entire story. Roman Reigns has already had a complicated history with Solo. Solo once served as one of Roman's most loyal enforcers. But eventually, Solo wanted more. He wanted power, he wanted recognition, and he wanted to establish himself as a leader. Now circumstances have brought him back toward Roman. That's why their next interaction could be one of the most important moments in this storyline. Imagine the reaction when Solo finally stands face to face with Roman. Does Solo acknowledge him? Does Roman demand loyalty? Does Solo refuse? Or does Roman simply smile because he knows Solo has nowhere else to go? That moment could tell us everything about WWE's plans. WWE may have just created a much bigger story. At first glance, this might look like a simple storyline. Jey beats Solo. Solo returns to the Bloodline. End of story. But there are actually several possible directions. Solo could become Roman's enforcer again. Solo could turn against Roman. Solo could become an unwilling member of the Bloodline. Solo could eventually betray Roman. Or WWE could use the entire situation to create another massive Bloodline civil war. And that is why I don't think we should immediately say Solo's babyface run is completely dead. It may be changing. There's a difference. WWE could be taking Solo through a darker chapter before eventually giving him the biggest babyface moment of his career. Sometimes the best babyface stories begin with a character losing control of their own destiny. And that's exactly where Solo is right now. He wanted independence. He lost. Now he's being sent back to the family he tried to escape. That's a powerful story. The big question. So is Solo Sikoa's babyface run over? Not necessarily, but WWE has absolutely put that direction in serious danger. The immediate storyline is clear. Jey Uso defeated Solo and has promised to deliver him to Roman Reigns. Now we wait for the meeting, and that meeting could determine everything. Because if Roman welcomes Solo back, we could see the Bloodline become even more dangerous. If Roman rejects or punishes him, Solo could finally realize that he doesn't need Roman. And if Solo turns on Roman, then WWE could have the next major chapter of the Bloodline saga ready to go. For now, one thing is certain. Solo Sikoa wanted to escape the Bloodline. Jey Uso just took that choice away from him. And now Solo is heading straight back toward Roman Reigns. Whether he returns as Roman's soldier, Roman's enemy, or something completely different, that is the story WWE has just created. And honestly, this could be much bigger than just another Bloodline reunion. Because Solo Sikoa may have lost the match, but the real battle for his future is only beginning. What do you think? Should Solo Sikoa actually return to Roman Reigns and the Bloodline? Or should WWE allow Solo to continue his babyface evolution and eventually turn against Roman? Let me know your prediction in the comments. And if you want more updates and analysis on Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and the future of the Bloodline, make sure you subscribe.